Madam Chair of the School of Translation, faculty members, fellow translators, friends, and dear students. So translation as intercultural communication. First, I'd like to thank Marie-Christine and the School of Translation and ATIO for inviting me to speak to you on this International Translation Day. I'm both happy and honored to be here today, and I'm particularly happy to see so many of you colleagues and friends. And I wrote this before coming, so I'm really happy that I was foresight. I knew there would be so many people. When Marie-Christine contacted me to see whether I would be able or interested in speaking to you today, she reminded me of the theme of this year's Translation Day and asked me if I would be able to talk on this topic. The conversation was taking place in French, no big surprise here. So she told me the theme was Le traducteur, vecteur de la communication interculturelle. So once we hung up the phone, I quickly looked at the FIT press release, and both English and French, because I'm a translator, I want to see if they do it right. And then I found out that the theme in English was slightly different. Translation, not translator, as intercultural communication, not vecteur de la communication culturelle. I thought it was interesting. I like to talk about translation. Of course, after all, I teach and I study translation for a living. So the reason why I left professional translation to become a professor was to have an opportunity to study translation in depth. But my real passion is translator training, translators, and the work they do. And I try to understand why they do what they do. Therefore, the French version of the theme of this year's Translation Day is slightly more appealing to me than the English theme. So as much as I'm supposed to talk about translation as intercultural communication, I will talk about translators and to what extent the work we can do be related to intercultural communication. And when I say translators, I really mean language professionals. So if you're an interpreter, terminologist, please feel free to feel included because you are. You give teachers a microphone and pretty quickly they start to lecture. So first, I would like to have a little bit of a teaching moment, if you don't mind. I think it may be useful to define first what I mean by culture, and then I will attempt to define two closely related terms that cannot be used interchangeably, intercultural and cross-cultural communication. Being language professionals, and I know that there are professional terminologists in the room, you'll appreciate the terminology clarifications. At least I hope you will. So my definition of culture is, I think, widely